Hello, everyone. It is the Week 8 Gillcast. If you didn't play Devin Achane, you are fishier than an actual dolphin. That is going to be the highlight of the show. Let's see who won, who lost, and who made money in Week 8. It's Short King Summer, dude. It just feels like no one in fantasy sports ever learns anything. Does he mistime it, or is Brock Bowers just a grown man? Brock Bowers is just a grown man. Dare I say, Rich, football might be back. In the words of Lane Johnson, this offense looks constipated. It's Short King Summer. All right, everyone. It's the worst possible version of this show. We all won. I won the 3-man. Really, no one actually wants to watch this. You know, it's like no one really has anything to tilt over. The viewers are not going to get anyone. You know, no one's gonna be mad here on the program.
Yeah, but we're still gonna roast the shit out of Nate. So let's get it on.
We are gonna roast Nate. We are on the back of the most incredible Hail Mary play. I mean, that was the coolest play of the season. Noah Brown catching a deflected. I still can't really process what just happened. Nate,
are you tilting? Noted Bears fan Nate.
I'm tilting. Yeah, I'm tilting. I mean,
yeah, good.
I'm still processing. I mean, that was tilting.
Nate blacked out for 15 minutes because he goes, the game just ended, and then he shows up 15 minutes later. He's like, it was done. It was like, I think Nate had a mental break. Are you all right for the show?
Yeah, I mean, I'll get it together, but I really thought.
Nate, your internet is degraded as much as the quality of the Bears' fourth string wide receiver. I need you to press a refresh. It's really suboptimal.
Yeah. Pixelated Nate is tilting in the chat, everybody.
Yeah. Drop out and drop back in. Okay. So Sammy, Cash today was pretty interesting in the sense that I didn't know who the fuck to play at quarterback. You could have made an argument for Lamar Jackson. You could have made an argument for Jameis Winston. Some optimals were giving you Geno. There were like a fair few number of quarterbacks that were in play.
I only considered Knicks and Jameis. That's it. So I just didn't think it was proper to pay up on this slate here. Those guys were not. I mean, Lamar is always goated, but man, I mean, that's a pretty tough game. TBH, like division rival, pretty good defense. It's easy to be like, oh yeah, Lamar threw 5 touchdowns last week. He's great. He's the MVP, and he is. But man, I did not think that paying up on this slate was proper. We wanted to get the studs in. You wanted
now. Outside of that, though. I did not think Nix was a layup because he's Bo Nix. Like, to be honest, like just the fact that he is Bo Nix, I was like, look, anyone can get there against the Panthers. You know, DJ Moore got there. Caleb Williams got there against the Panthers. Can't get there against anyone else. I was a little sketch on that. Everything else felt pretty straightforward. It was like, okay, Brees is a lock.
Yep.
Achane is a lock. I thought Javonte was even more of a lock than Bo Nix was. Like, who's going to get there against the Panthers for this team that doesn't pass the ball very well? It's almost for sure going to be Javonte coming off of that huge usage game. I felt pretty good about that. I suppose a realistic question you could have had was, does T. Higgins being out actually make Jamar Chase a good play? Jamar Chase leads the NFL in double covered rate. No one gets double covered more often than Jamar Chase. 43% of his snaps, 43% of his routes are double covered. Obviously, that rate, when you replace him with Andre Yoshibas and Charlie Jones and Jermaine Burton and 2 tight end sets, that rate is going to go up. Then you had to decide between Jalen McMillan, Cedric Tillman, Andre Yoshibas, Jake Bobo, Elijah Moore. That was what optimals were giving you, and those guys were all within a point of each other. Now, I never considered Yoshi Voss. I thought Yoshi Voss worst play this late.
We've done that. We've been there.
Yeah. I thought Yoshi. You considered Yoshi?
Of course he did.
I mean, here's the thing.
He stinks
with Jamar Chase, because you're not wrong about the double team rates. The target share has been flowing to other people on the team. I mean, T legitimately has been getting better volume than Chase up to this point in the season. And I thought with T being out, there was a chance that Yoshi Voss was the best of those under 4K guys. Like from an efficiency and a volume perspective, you were making a little bit of a gamble on a big gamble on McMillan, and on Tillman, we have so many questions about his talent that I thought Yoshi Voss had a chance to be the best of the 4K.
Well, I don't have any. The thing is I have no questions about Yoshi Voss's talent. I know he's ass. I know he cannot. He can't earn targets. Like Yoshi
remember that week where we played him in cash and he or at least I did, and he went 2 for 7 or whatever with 2 touchdowns.
2 targets, 2 touchdowns.
And that was like you get 17 with the dealer showing a 10 and you hit twice and you just bink 4s. You pick up your money and you go. You know what I mean? Like do not let this keep going. So I cashed out my Yoshi Voss chips and
it's like anyone, if you played Yoshi Voss, like I get it. These dudes were all projected the same. Like Jalen McMillan, I altered his projection because I wanted him more in my runs. So he was projected for like 10. Yoshi Voss was projected for 9.99. Bobo was projected for 8.63. Tillman was projected for 8.31. Elijah Moore was projected for, so he would not have hit optimals at all. And then Sterling Shepard was projected for 8.87. So it was all very close. I felt it just honestly didn't really seem that close to me. The only 2 guys I considered were McMillan or Tillman. And the reason why I was considering McMillan is obviously someone was going to fill someone was going to fill Chris Godwin's role, which is the layup role in that offense. It actually ended up being
Cade Otton.
So I looked this up on PFF right before we began. Sterling Shepard is Godwin's replacement. Godwin had played 61% of his snaps in the slot this season, 27% on the outside, or 12% on the outside. In this game, Shepard played 61%, 30%, and 9%. So he basically mirrored that role. He did leave banged up and then came back in a little bit. Tillman was also cheaper. So the 2v2 that is reflected in our lineups and in a lot of people's lineups was
me versus you, I think.
Bo Nix and Cedric Tillman versus Jameis Winston and Jalen McMillan. I
chose poorly over here.
I ultimately
no. I mean, Sammy, I actually think yours was like the I know ball team. Like
no,
Jalen McMillan is a much better I know ball play than Cedric Tillman. Cedric Tillman has shown us for multiple years questionable.
This is the reverse.
Yes.
No. Nate. You want to know what the I know ball lineup was? I'll show you the best possible lineup that people played.
Thank you, Nate. Thanks. Let's not let Davis piss on my parade here. It was an IKB play. And
Davis is drinking the Kool-Aid because Cedric Tillman smashed. But Cedric Tillman has literally been on the field for like a year and a half and has shown no ability whatsoever at the NFL level and has questionable college ability. Where Jalen McMillan legitimately had dominant last year production and he won the job. He won the job early in the season in Tampa Bay, and
he won a shitty role though, Nate. And I can't find the team, but
he's a rookie and won it really fast. Like they like him.
Yes, McMillan I think was a I know ball play. I just felt better about Tillman from a pure volume standpoint because I thought with McMillan there was a bunch of projection to his volume that I thought. Overall, the only thing I felt good about in Tampa Bay was Cade Otton. Everything else was a question mark.
You don't know ball enough because do you know why Sterling Shepard was the correct Tampa Bay play? Think about it.
Because he's the shower narrative with.
He was so much more likely to get the role that Baker wants to target than a rookie who Baker doesn't give a shit about. I really
know, and that's why I do play more Sterling in GPP, but I'm saying in cash, I just think when you're punting under 4K, if you just want to take a guy with like the highest talent upside, I get that. I just thought that Tillman had a much better volume projection.
Sure. Do you know who the real I know ball play was Jameis Winston.
Jameis Winston.
I mean, we all know ball. We all love Jameis Winston. And we're like, oh, Bo Nix, he's been running a bunch. He's got the nut matchup. Yeah. And he obviously did great. I think he outscored
this. I was trying to find this team. This was the I know ball team. It was Tillman over McMillan with Jameis and then paying up for the Bills defense. That
yes,
if you played that team, if whoever out there played this team, you are smarter than me. You did the right thing. Someone played this against me in a $50 head-to-head, and I looked at it immediately, and I was like, that was really good. You also left yourself an extra swap.
Honestly, I feel like ashamed of myself. I didn't just play Jameis. There is no one who has played Jameis.
I know, Nate.
In DFS cash games than myself. In the fact that I've been waiting for this moment for 4 years. And it's Jameis week, and I couldn't pull the trigger on him. Is like
we hate to see that for you, Nate. It's pretty destructive to your brand, and frankly, it was just like this nut spot where it's like, I mean, the most hated man in football, Deshaun Watson, goes down. Like the Patrick Ewing narrative. Like you just knew Cleveland was going to do something today. They beat Baltimore at home. You know what I mean? On the best Winston throwing for 334 yards. Was it ever going to be any other way? Absolutely.
Was it ever going to happen in any other way? It was never, ever, ever happening in a different way.
No,
never, ever.
Absolutely.
Yeah. No, it wasn't. Is there anything else interesting about my team? I mean, these guys were just all locks. Brees was a lock. Achane was a lock. Javonte was a lock. Otten was a lock.
Well, what was Achane owned in cash?
Here is the massive $25 double up. Achane was 33% owned. So
yeah.
So
only
66% of my opponents are dumb donkeys who can't read.
That's right. I think that reflects kind of my view of DFS players, that about 1/3 of DFS players know ball. And I think that this accurately reflects that, because the difference between somebody like Achane, and if you were playing him versus Javonte Williams, if you're using that spot, him versus J.K. Dobbins, those were other guys that were projecting really well from a value standpoint. You have to understand that only one of those guys is capable of completely breaking the slate, and that's Devin Achane. And, you go back to like what was happening the first couple weeks when Tua was playing, where they were using Achane so much in the passing game, essentially as their de facto third receiver, combined with his game-breaking speed, combined with did they have the bye last week?
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, getting a little healthier. There was some talk about him not being fully healthy earlier in the season. Like it just, man, Achane, like, buddy, I can't believe some people didn't play him.
Mostert like got a touchdown and they got another red zone touch. It's like Achane could have had 40 without breaking a sweat.
And he almost got the bonus and had it and then lost a couple yards.
He had the bonus.
Then lost a couple yards. And there was like 5 minutes or 6 minutes left in the game and he never ended up getting the carries. Like, buddy, I mean, this was like Achane's floor essentially.
Yeah, I mean, Achane is, I think, probably the third best running back in fantasy. It's Barkley 1, Henry 2, then Achane 3rd, I think.
You guys are insane. I get that Achane, like, okay, finally he had the game. This is what you guys were waiting for. You all best.
He did it already. He did it week 1. He did it week 2. He's led the backfield in snaps, touches, targets every week of the season. There's never been any variation in that.
Nate,
what were you expecting?
You had 1 week of over 20 expected DraftKings points all year.
That's wrong.
Gibbs.
That's wrong.
Gibbs gets this workload significantly. Dobbins gets. There's plenty of other backs who get a workload.
Wouldn't you play $6,200 Gibbs in this spot against the Cardinals?
I Yes, but what I'm saying is you saying he's the third best. No, he is not the third best back in all of fantasy.
Well,
did you order the code red, Nate? Did you order the code red? Listen, you had the opportunity to play Devin Achane, Nate, and you didn't do it. And I think you need to step up to the microphone. You need to take the
Let's everyone. So what Nate did was Nate played a tight end over Devin Achane.
Well, and he also played Javonte essentially over Devin Achane.
Because Javonte was a good play. I'm not castigating. No.
I mean, no, that is incorrect because he paid $3,700 for a defense.
That's just Nate. That's just the Nate popping up with the most expensive defense of the slate is just on brand.
Just so on brand. When Devin Achane was $200 more. Like, you just go up to Achane from Javonte Williams, who you know is fat and slow and shares time. And
how many games over 20 expected fantasy points for Javonte Williams this year, Nathan?
Davis. Javonte is getting significant workload multiple weeks in a row. And Achane
far less than Achane, way less.
No, the only week that Achane has had over 20 expected DraftKings points was week 2. And what happened in week 2? Raheem Mostert did not play. Every game that Raheem Mostert has played, Achane has been under 20 expected DraftKings points. He's only had 1 week above 11 rushing attempts without Mostert. He is not the only back in this back.
Well, you got to adjust the raw numbers. You got to adjust the raw numbers for the team context. He only had 11 rushing attempts in a game.
Okay, this comment from JR Enterprise where he got Mostert vultured him twice. Mostert didn't vulture him. Mostert is the goal line
back. That's just his role. That's just his role.
That's his role. And so when you take the expected touchdowns away from Achane, and then you realize that the only time he has to score touchdowns is when he gets these 10 plus yards out scores. His overall touchdown expectation is going to be way lower than a guy like Javonte. His overall touchdown expectation is going to be way less than a guy like J.K. Dobbins or other guys like that. And then when you realize that he's actually not going to get 15
touchdown in week 1 and week 2.
Of course, they share the role. It's not like Mostert is like the goal line back.
It's the same thing as Montgomery and Gibbs. It's just that Mostert's not as good as Montgomery, and Achane's better than Gibbs.
That is
yes. And the overall, we want to project.
Not sure about that.
Project Achane like he's. I get that Achane is like before this week has had unbelievable. Or before this season has had unbelievable efficiency. But I do think this week was a little bit of like over projection with his role. And I
thought he was the worst projection of the slate. I thought everyone was way too low on him.
100. I mean, here's what's going to happen. This is going to be kind of the lowest that Achane is going to be priced all year. And Javonte Williams will probably settle back into the mid 5.5s like he has been all year.
Well, Jaleel played more than he had the last 2 weeks today,
and caught a short touchdown.
That's kind of his role. That's kind of like what Jaleel's role is. That is not surprising, but the more in between the 20 stuff I thought was surprising. Nate, I thought Javonte was going to get 27
by week the last couple of weeks. 15 rushing attempts last week with 3 targets. The week he was hurt, it was 3 rushing attempts, 1 target. 10 rushing attempts, 3 targets, 11 rushing attempts, 5 targets. And then when Mostert was out, he had his big game in week 2, which was 22 rushing attempts. And
I think you can't really use a game. They lost 24-3 and then 31-12. And then these Skylar Thompson, Tim Boyle games. It's just,
throw those out.
I think it's just
every Dolphin was underpriced on this slate. Every single one. Some people play Jalen Waddle in cash. I thought that was fine because every Dolphin was priced as though Tua was not playing.
I thought Waddle was fine too, actually. Yeah, I agree with
Waddle
that.
was fine. I played a ton of Waddle in tournaments, and I thought Tyreek was obviously underpriced. I'm just saying, this Achane, there's plenty of running backs you could have played this week. Dobbins was not a fish play. I don't think Javonte was a fish play. Brees was a great play. There was so many running backs that projected as great plays. I get that Achane was just the
next one. Because Nate, he
Nate has left the chat. Nate played 2 tight ends in cash and paid up for defense. I mean, it is insane what this guy does. I don't understand, man. I don't understand, Nate. I mean, Nate, what the hell, bro? Like, just take the L.
No.
So bad.
Playing Njoku, totally fine. No issues with that. In fact, I did want to bring this up. Was that Nate was not alone in this. I need to bring up the raw optimals, because the raw optimal, I kept trying to say this to Nate, and he wasn't understanding what I was saying. He posted the team
because I just thought there was no way that the raw optimals from other sites were giving this, because I looked at the workload from Njoku last week, and legitimately I was like, Njoku might have DraftKings points week. There's no chance I'm fading Njoku, and there was no chance I was fading Otten, and so playing both of them was a must.
Right here. This was the raw aggregated optimal. Bo Nix, Breece Hall, Javonte Williams, Jamar Chase, Tyreek Hill, Andre Yoshibas, David Njoku, Cade Otton, and the Ravens defense. That was the team I was trying to tell you that people were going to play, and I think
so.
People
I played that
play
team, except it was a 2v. Except I played Tillman and Broncos D over Yoshibas Ravens.
Yes. Which Yoshiba, I don't know. I can't imagine clicking Yoshiba. I just have watched him play too much football. He just cannot get open. Yeah. He just cannot get open on a football.
Yeah, field. It's not great. I mean, what was Chase owned? I don't think he was a lock without Higgins in there.
He really didn't get super owned. 35.9% in the massive $25 double up. Tillman was 43%. Tyreek, I mean, what were people doing with Tyreek? Tyreek should have been 100% owned. That number next to Tyreek should be 100%. They're not.
Bring up the ownerships. What the hell did people do?
Is there a way to do that? You can only do that on mobile, Sammy.
I mean, I have all the big wide receiver ownerships. So it was Tyreek 68, Cedric 43, Jamar 35, McMillan was 28, London was 20, Yoshibas was 14, Waddle was 12, Jaden Reed 9%, Bateman 7, DJ Moore 6, Romeo Dobbs 6.
Jaden Reed. Ooh.
I mean, it's crazy that 32% of people entered a game in which you're trying to double your money and they did not have Tyreek Hill.
I would bet of those 32, 100% of them played Chase. I bet the only reason they faded Tyreek was because they played one of Tyreek or Chase.
Yeah, you're probably right, and just didn't get to a build where they got both. They're like, dude, I'll play Chase and Waddle.
Yeah. No, I think like it's tempting to look at some of the results of these double ups and be like, there are so many dupe teams, everyone's pretty good, like I should keep playing. No, dude. If we live in a world where Tyreek Hill is not, let's call it 97% or something, then we can keep playing these games profitably.
There is still
any decent team is still a 50% ROI expectation in this game. Like,
yeah.
Any decent team should be 50% in these big double ups. I mean, it's crazy. I was surprised at Tillman's ownership, though. I thought Tillman's ownership was the most surprising thing on the slate. I thought Tillman was going to come in similar to Yoshibas because Yoshibas projected better everywhere.
Or McMillan. I mean, I kind of prefer McMillan straight up.
So Tillman was like I bid on Tillman on all my high stakes teams. He was like my favorite. I think people were just into him. He scored a touchdown last week. He
12 targets.
Yeah. He looked the best next to when Jameis came in. Other than
not that hard to look really good next to Jerry Jeudy though. TBH.
Yeah, so it's so true. I was so not interested in playing Jerry Jeudy today. I was just like, it's all Tillman and Njoku,
I did not consider Jerry Jeudy.
Okay. Let's see. Sammy, we got to click back. Sammy, you did Jamison McMillan.
Basically, Jamison McMillan cost me 20 points. Still won, but kept me from just absolutely sweeping. Like I'm sure you did. Just happy with the.
But you did. Process. You don't have to wear the crown of fading Devin Achane at his lowest ever DraftKings price.
God, why would I do that?
Achane is going to be 8,000 before he's ever 6,000 again.
Of course, yeah. Javonte Williams' longest play this year is 14 yards.
No, Javonte was not a bad play. I need to be on the record. Javonte was
not, but not over
Achane. Yeah. All right. Nate, what fields do you have up for your stuff? Because I've got a couple teams pulled up, so we can do.
I pulled up the 150K spy.
All right, so my team in this is a fucking nightmare. It's gonna sim so bad. I don't even. We can do it, but I don't even want to.
I think the people want it.
All right, this is my team in the 150K spy. Let me pull up the solver as well. Close the double ups. Okay. Jordan Love at 11%. I just didn't think he was going to be 11%. I thought he was going to be 3 to 4%. I was really, really surprised to see that.
Yeah, just so hard to freaking stack the guy, man.
Well, that was the other thing, is I did not think Jaden Reed was going to be that owned. I thought all that would just be Tyreek, and then Chase was going to pull a ton of it. So Love with Reed, no bring back. Breece Hall, Devin Achane, Tyreek Hill, Jaden Reed, Cedric Tillman, Cade Otton. I had Kareem Hunt in the flex on this team, but had to swap, obviously, because the team is dead as shit. And I played Xavier Worthy at 0.8% owned, and I played the Falcons defense, which I was actually, Nate, I was really trying to get off the Falcons defense and stuff because I thought they were going to be way too owned. But that is not how it played out. 9% for them, I think, is fine. But yeah, this team is going to be post-contest sim. It is gonna post-contest sim very poorly because I really missed on these ownerships. What do you have for this one? Do you have it as not good? Fucking 11%.
Yeah, I have it as
just crazy.
Yeah, not great.
Yeah, I have it as negative EV. Yeah, I mean, you hit on a couple of the not the most overowned, but yeah, Love ends up being the most overowned QB
by far, and Reed probably the most overowned wide receiver.
Yeah. So that's never going to be.
Breece is terrible too. This is just a terrible team. This is bad actually, up and down.
Breece isn't as bad as you'd think, because Breece projected for a ton of ownership already, and so Breece was a good play at his ownership, even plus or minus 10%. So some of and that's what we were trying to talk through last week a little bit, is some of these guys that you play into ownership is fine. It's these guys that you expect to come.
I was fine. I was fine playing Kate. I didn't want to play him on every team. Yeah.
You should sim it with Kareem Hunt in though.
Yeah, I should. Kareem Hunt. I'm sure it's going to sim well because this would have been the software. Oh, so these must be the actuals? No, they're not even. Huh.
It must be the actuals, because Jordan Love would have been simming out great beforehand. The Jordan Love stuff is going to sim out terrible.
Yeah, this team is bad.
11%
This is a pretty good example of something not to do, which is don't play the fancy play second chalk, which is what Jordan Love was, with Giga Chalk. If you want to do Breece Hall, Achane, Reek, Otton, Tillman together, you got to do something way better than an 11, a 10% owned stack, basically. That's awful. It's really bad. Here, I got another team that is, we can actually just run through the teams that I actually thought about. I did this, which I thought was much better. Obviously,
yeah, looks great. You almost got to 90 points.
The results were not there, but I thought this was a much better construction.
What field was
team.
this, Davis?
This was the bigger red zone, the 100K red zone. Caleb, I mean, just look at all these snowflakes. Caleb Williams, Javonte, James Conner, DJ Moore, Tyreek Hill, Jalen McMillan, Cole Kmet, J.K. Dobbins, and the Falcons defense. There's no one to swap off of, basically, on this team. I was like, because I probably should have with Tyreek at 13 and Connor only at 14, but I just gave up. I was just like, I'll just let this one play out. I mean, I really liked the Caleb stuff. I really liked Connor as leverage on some of those Dolphins pieces. Like, the ownerships on this team are much better, but it turns out that Caleb Williams and the Bears forgot how to score points.
Pretty much all of the tight end stuff. Pretty much there was only like 4 playable tight ends in tournaments this week, it looked like, in all my sims. I mean, it was like you either played Achane and Njoku chalk, or you got Bowers, or I think Ingram simmed pretty well.
Yeah, Ingram was right at the same ownership as Njoku, and I thought he was a great tournament pivot at like the same price point.
Yeah.
But otherwise, you're not getting enough ownership discount at tight end to make up for these massive projection differences. Like Cole Kmet, there's just no reason.
Well, it's a stack, man.
Yeah.
I disagree, because the tight end scoring has just been so volatile. It's like kind of either you score a touchdown or you don't. This slate was kind of crazy because all the tight ends ended up scoring. But I think in this current tight end landscape where they've all kind of been struggling all year, I think it's fine to say, oh, yeah, I'm going to stack this tight end that has been getting really good usage the last couple of weeks with Caleb.
Like, I'm sure Nate, I mean, I don't know how involved your CSV is, but I am sure that there were like a maximum of 10 teams in this contest that had Caleb Williams, Cole Kmet, and DJ Moore on them. So I'm fine playing into that. And then
I didn't pull. I don't think I played in this one, so I didn't pull this one yet. But yeah, I mean, pretty much all the contests I simmed, there was like 5 positive expected value tight ends, and it was Ingram, Njoku, Otten, Bowers, and then there was some Disley / Kelsey sneaking in. But pretty much every other tight end, you were giving up way too much points of projection for the ownership, because some of these guys already came in so low. I mean, Evan Ingram came in at 6%, Bowers came in at 5% in some things. And so playing Cole Kmet at a 10%, well, what projection were you giving up on Ingram or Bowers or some of these other guys? I mean, you're probably giving up 10 points, for similar ownership. It's just not worth. It's just not worth it at the tight end position.
But, I mean, yes,
when the projections are this low, I mean, touchdowns really drive like who's going to outscore who in a way that it doesn't as much.
These are like 2 different conversations, though, Sammy. It's like, yeah, obviously, like if you just grant that like anyone who scores a touchdown, like, sure. But what Nate is saying, I think I directionally agree with. And the thing, obviously, that's so different is, tight ends just scored points this week. Generally speaking, the barrier for tight end, like it's like, oh, tight ends don't score any points, so just correlate it with your quarterback. But there actually were a lot of tight ends that projected like just as good plays this week. Like in a 13-game slate, we were getting 2 tight end lineups. Like there were just a lot. Like these are some of the best values of the whole slate. Yeah.
When you can play 2 tight ends in cash as optimal, Sammy. Baiting that and
but it wasn't optimal
to get a 3% owned guy is not good. I mean, it's just no range of outcomes that you simulate is going to show that as optimal. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's correlated with your QB or not. Correlation on a 14-game slate like this matters a little bit less. Like you're going to notice that most things that simmed out don't have bringbacks and don't have as much correlation, because on a slate like this, you need scoring. You need actual projection.
I did also play this team.
read it for the audio listeners, Davis.
For the audio listeners, so I did the show with Brian Hooper this morning, And this team was about to be, I don't remember what I was doing. I was building it. It was going to be a Bo Nix team. It was going to be a Bo Nix like parlay team, like uncorrelated Bo Nix, like just like with the best values and stuff. And then I built it and I was like, you know what? I would just kill myself if the Kermit narrative hit for the Chiefs and I didn't have a Mahomes team. So I played Mahomes, Brees, Achane, Hill, Jalen McMillan, and Cedric Tillman together with Travis Kelce, Xavier Worthy, and the Chargers defense. I have no idea if this sims well because I didn't test it because I assumed that it probably wouldn't. This is in the big red zone. Honestly, 2%
you just knew it would suck, so you didn't even bother to sim it.
2% on Travis Kelce. It actually might sim okay because I believe he did have the highest raw projection. No, he didn't, but he still had a pretty good one. But it's gonna the Sims hate Worthy.
Yeah, the Sims are not gonna like Worthy, but they might like Kelce. I mean, depending on the field, Kelce simmed okay in some stuff. I was simming. It's just
Mahomes just cannot fucking generate any fantasy points. I mean, this guy is he's just actively killing me, dude. It's unbelievable. I played McMillan and Tillman. I liked playing McMillan. I actually liked playing McMillan and Tillman together because the way lineup construction worked, they were mostly not played together. It was like they had very high individual ownership, but very low combinatorial ownership, which I kind of liked. And I also really liked the Chargers defense. Worthy, and then who else did I play in this? Oh, Tyreek and the Chargers. Oh, I played the Chargers D so I could pivot, but with Achane, I was like, whatever, I'll just run it because I knew no one was going to be on. Worthy. Yeah, so this was a really interesting thing, Nate. Was that Lad McConkey was projected to be Giga Chalk and then was not owned and then smashed.
And then was not. Lad was
absolutely smashed. The guy who won the Millie had Lad.
Yeah.
Yeah, post-lock stuff loves Lad. Because Lad projected in
really
post-lock,
well.
My two highest wide receivers that came in were Lad and Amon-Ra. Because Amon-Ra came in under 2% owned in most things. Which is crazy.
Too bad the Lions just like return a bunch of kicks and had no yardage, but scored like 7 touchdowns.
Yeah, but if you played Lad or Amon-Ra, your stuff's gonna sim out really well in post.
Yeah.
Right.
Nate,
you want to
or Sammy? Yeah. What contest?
Okay. Let's go.
These are already the actuals, by the way.
Okay.
That's why the Love one sucked.
That's why the Love one was bad.
Yeah, let's go for the big spy, the 400K spy.
Okay, hit me.
All right. So we did Bo Nix, and we stacked him with Cortland Sutton.
Okay, I can already tell you these projections love Bo Nix, so it's gonna like your lineup, I think.
Okay, great. I did bring it back with Nate's gonna dunk on me.
This is so fucking stupid, Sammy. You should not be doing this shit.
What? Eat a dick. Jatavian Sanders.
This is terrible. This is really, really awful stuff.
Eat.
If you are learning anything, this right here, bringing it back with a guy who's like mean expectation is like a reception is not good. Don't.
Maybe you haven't seen his box score the last couple weeks, Davis. He's doing it a little bit.
Andy Dalton was his quarterback.
Well, I know. I should have projected. I should have figured that out a little bit. I actually originally in this lineup, I had a Coker in as the bring back.
Oh my god, dude!
Yeah, he ended up smashing. Well, the run the Sims really liked Coker, but
Justin is doing something wrong with that. It just can't be. It can't be right. Anyways, continue. Rest of the team.
Oh, okay, yeah. Derrick Henry and Breece Hall.
I legitimately hate this team. Like if it sims well, whatever. But like this is terrible.
Jamar Chase, Cedric Tillman, Devon Achane.
How does this team sim out like this?
Devon Achane and the Falcons D. Because it's a mega sharp team, that's why.
because the Sims
this is actually simmed out well for my stuff.
It's Knicks.
Bitch, I know.
It's Knicks.
This simmed out well in my post lock stuff too. What the heck?
Dog, I know.
No one Davian Sanders that this thing would have. Yeah, you got great ownership on Knicks. You actually got decent ownership on Henry. Breece Hall was the most like robust RB play you could have made. Pretty much 10 plus or minus % ownership, and Breece looked great. Devon Achane was a great tournament play. This simmed out really well. 40% in my stuff.
What can I say? And it got a top 10% finish. You know, I think it finished 400 something out of 4,000 something people.
There is no computer that could get me to like this team. Absolutely not.
I mean, really, it's just like a low owned Knicks to Sutton, and Sutton was like 2 point something % owned, and then no ownership on Jatavian Sanders, and then the best plays.
I would have played if I was hunting a tight end. I would have taken Calcaterra again.
Yeah.
Basically, I
wish I wasn't a coward and went with Calcaterra.
You lost very little points off the optimal, and then you gained a ton on ownership, and you kept the guys like Breece Hall, and Knicks, Jamar Chase, Cedric Tillman. So you had a great like cash base for your like high projection, and then where you got weird, ownership went in your favor.
Cheers to me.
Some correlation.
I will gladly take
this seems out well. This is a good team, Davis.
No, whatever. It can sim fine. I think what I will say is this is a very directionally accurate team because of exactly what you said, Nate. He's not giving up a ton of projection. He's got some of the cash plays. He's got Knicks, he's got Hall, he's got Chase, he's got.
And this is what I did in all my GPP teams is I faded Tyreek Hill. I didn't have him anywhere, and I just played all Achane.
Yeah, I did. I played both of them in most, honestly. Nate, what was your philosophy on Hill and Achane? I just played them all basically.
When I played them, I tried to play them all together. So I tried to do a bunch of like onslaught Dolphin stuff. I had a bunch of Waddle, I had a bunch of Tyreek, I had a bunch of Achane together. So, but yeah, I thought the Tyreek fade in tournaments was sharp with the questionable tag. Like if there was a chance that he had like a re-injury risk and he went out first quarter and you faded like a 40% owned high price wide receiver, you'd be in a good spot.
Yeah.
You'd be in a good spot.
I mean, Sammy just running out Jatavian Sanders, dude. Really, really unbelievable.
I did not think this team would sim well, but it did.
Well, if you think about it for a second, you do see why. It's just the Sanders stuff is so sketchy. But like, I get it. Whatever.
Which I'd done Coker.
I didn't even realize Coker got points. That's so funny.
He had like 78 and a touchdown, mate. Yeah.
78 and a 10. Wow. Should have done that last week when he was 10% out. I mean, truly some of the worst stuff alive. All right, Nathan, what do you got? What field do you want me to run
Didn't
for?
have a ton of success in tournaments, but my favorite like pre-build team was my spy team. It was
bigger, little.
Lawrence. It was like the little, so it's 1666 entries.
Yeah. Lawrence.
Lawrence, Breece, Achane, Brian Thomas, Jalen Waddle, Sterling Shepard, Evan Engram, Dobbins, Ravens D.
Ingram on this team.
So, yeah.
Why don't you play Tank Bigsby, bro?
Because at the running back position, I just felt I felt so good about the running back. This
is a good team.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, snap. Yeah. Look at that.
So this was my favorite team. I really liked Lawrence stuff. I thought Lawrence stuff was like just the range of outcomes. Like Lawrence to Thomas with Engram just feels like such like the volume concentration that you get there, where Love stuff looked good, but I couldn't ever get a build that I felt great about with the Love stuff. So I actually thought this was a great way to play that game. And I just built it around a cash team, basically, with Brees, Achane, Dobbins, Ravens D.
So you admit that Achane was a cash play?
He does admit.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. I never said Achane wasn't a cash play. I was just saying to act like he was the most optimal of the cash plays is. But yeah, this was my favorite team. Obviously, I need Sklansky to feed my child this week because there were no real dollars made this week.
Yeah, no, this was a good team. Obviously,
Josh Jacobs would have went pretty hard on this team.
Yeah. Got to bring it back, man.
Yeah, Jaden Reed absolutely owned my soul on Underdog today because he was like the wide receiver 10. You could just take him in all those drafts.
Yeah, I mean the thing about Jaden Reed is he's had some big games, but like call me when he has more than 6 targets in a game. Like, I
don't know. I think he's banged up. I don't get it.
He's a really good player, and he's going to have some big games. But yeah, more of a best ball kind of pick.
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. Did we really learn anything this week?
Nobody really got hurt, right?
Yeah, DJ Moore looked like he died. Like literally looked like he was like gonna have to get like his like he was gonna have to go to the hospital, and then just came back. Oh yeah, Diggs might have done his ACL.
Oh really?
Yeah, that did not look good.
It looked bad. Yeah, non-contact.
Our Tank Dell bags are back, baby. Let's go.
Yeah,
No, they're not because Houston's just not going to throw again the rest of the season.
They're never going to throw. Christian Kirk got injured, but honestly,
and Mixon looks
money. Yeah.
Sorry. I meant guys who like matter.
Good.
Yeah, I meant like big guys who matter.
Yeah, it's really just Diggs. It was non-contact on turf.
No shit.
Dude, don't throw shade on Diggs. Diggs is like one of the most fun route running wide receivers, and the fact that like if it really is a season-ending ACL, like he's never going to be the same, and he's old enough where his comeback, like the best Diggs years are behind us, and it's actually like I'm sad in real football terms. Stephon Diggs is like fun to have on the field.
I'm not sad. Well, I mean, obviously it sucks for him, but the Texans should be fucking punished for how stupid and shitty they're playing.
Yeah, I mean
the Texans are playing. I mean, Mixon is efficient though. I don't understand what it's working.
They're gonna get blown out by 900 against Baltimore. Like,
yeah, I mean, Mixon's been doing great.
I mean, do you want them to throw the ball to Xavier Hutchinson? I mean, like,
I do. Like 2 weeks ago, I really wanted
Cade Stover.
I mean,
You want to see more Cade Stover targets, Davis?
For half of, I mean, Mahomes is making it happen with Noah Gray, dude. No excuses. Play like a champion.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, and this is a very tape bro take, but like, dude, I mean, Stroud is great. He is so freaking good. And you should just kind of like let him cook a little bit more. That's it. You know, it's easy to look in fantasy, and he hasn't been great from a fantasy standpoint. So it's like, he's been kind of mid. Dude, he's playing his balls off.
Dude, he's Richardson. Really how brutal is Richardson?
He's so bad. So bad. I mean,
like,
Jesus
he can't
Christ.
do anything.
No, he's just not very good at like throwing football.
I'm not out on Richardson yet.
You shouldn't be from like a fantasy standpoint.
I'm not out on Richardson.
He's got all the tools.
Dude, he's
like
still played less football than like.
That's why maybe he should have been. Yeah, but that's why maybe he should have been drafted along the lines of like these other rookies, right? In the places where Jaden Daniels was being drafted, Caleb Williams, the guys played 4 NFL games. You know what I mean? But we took that sample and said, wow, this guy could be like the QB1. And, he was just, dude, he's got plenty of potential, but he was overdrafted.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is like, I feel like you can always teach a quarterback some stuff, but you can't teach the physical tools that he has. So it's just like, he's I'm not out on him forever, but he is just terrible right now. He just is like, he just makes like Like he should have ran out of bounds on that scramble out of the end zone today, but he like set his shoulder into a defender. It's really not ideal.
Is
the Chiefs
Olave
were
back?
If Jake Haener plays, sure. Yeah. I mean, if Haener
Did
starts,
you guys see that Olave like? I mean, dude,
Wow,
he got the work.
Olave's back. You know, let's just draft him over.
Yeah,
Tyron.
Olave's back. He got 19 PPR points. He's so fucking back.
Boom.
33% target share with a 51% air yard share. Like, I will take a 0.86 Whopper all day for Chris Olave. Like,
wow, 0.86 Whopper, dude. You can't beat it.
Huge.
You can't beat Whopper talk.
Yeah.
Well, you can.
People have been waiting
Calvin
for
Ridley
this.
out there running 15 targets.
Dude, I got the very first lineup I ran this morning. This is not bullshit. Very first lineup I ran this morning. Calvin Ridley popped up. And I was like, Calvin Ridley? Nah.
Nah.
Yeah.
I played a Calvin Ridley team, but I had nothing else happening with it.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that could do it. I don't have anything. Yeah. I'm not doing this. I'm not giving National Tight End Day any of my attention. But
it did go hard. It did go hard as shit.
It did go hard. Sure.
I mean, the week that Nate plays 2 tight ends in cash and National Tight End Week goes crazy. Like, you just continue to run like an absolute sun god, bro.
Yeah. Okay. Let's get out of here. Everyone, thank you very much for listening. If you are listening to this on the Roto Grinders Fantasy Football feed, we do this every Sunday night after the games are over. So come and hang out with us. If you're watching on YouTube, you can also listen to this in podcast form. We will be back next week. Please like the video, comment on leave a comment if you think that Achane was a cash play. If you think that Achane was one of the best cash plays of the slate, yes or no. And we'll be back next week. Adios. It's Short King Summer, dude. It just feels like no one in fantasy sports ever learns anything. Does he mistime it, or is Brock Bowers just a grown man? Brock Bowers just a grown man. Dare I say, Rich, football might be back. In the words of Lane Johnson, this offense looks constipated. It's Short King Summer.